Hey everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for this week, and these are the horoscopes for the week ending November 28th, 2015. It's the last full week of November, and then we're moving on to horoscopes for December. And of course, this is also the first week of horoscopes for Sagittarius, as the sun moves into Sagittarius as of the first day of these horoscopes. So happy birthday to all of you Saggies out there. These Sagittarians, of course, are the crazy sign that keeps us all on our toes, for sure. They always keep us one step ahead of where we're supposed to be, and we really, really, really do love them for that. But we're going to go ahead and get right to it with the other signs first, and we're going to start, as we always do, with Aries. Now, the moon is going to start off the week in your sign, and it's going to end the week in cardinal grand cross position. So it is a little bit intense this week with the moon activity, because when we start off, of course, she's joining Uranus's T-square with Venus and Pluto. Now, this Venus is going to move out of this T-squared position by the end of the week, but Mars is going to come in and take her place being in that T-squared position. So it's a little bit tricky here. But bottom line for all of this and this aspect here is that it's really going to cause some frustrations around money, especially when you find yourself in that old feeling like you don't have the money that you need to get the things that you want to get done. And this is a frustrating old stupid pattern that you could just crumple up like a piece of paper and throw in the garbage because you're just done with it. You know, you're done with it. You don't want to feel this anymore, and unfortunately the moon's aspect in this particular instance makes it really, really intense. But at the same time, sometimes it's this really intense emotion that forces you to break out of this rut and say, you know what, I am so done with this, I'm not dealing with it anymore, and puts you in a space, or changes you from being in a space where you're frustrated about the issue and moves you into a place where you're done with the issue and ready to do whatever it takes to get past the issue. So it is a little bit difficult, but those difficulties, especially for you Rams, are important, because when it comes down to it, can you really keep a ram locked up? No. And not even a ram can keep themselves locked up. Go through the frustration, feel the feeling, because you need to feel the feeling in order to say, I am so done with this and I'm moving on from it. So you guys have a great week with that. Taurus, be the beauty and the wonderful that you want to see in the world this week. This is what Taurus is all about for you guys this week. Now, when life gets hectic and stressful and things get hectic and stressful around you, we tend to normally absorb that hectic and that stressful, and we take it on and we allow the feelings of those things to basically rule our reactions. And so we wind up becoming part of the problem instead of stepping outside of it and being able to help find a resolution to the problem. Everybody has their go-to reaction that they automatically go to when it comes to these types of situations, whether it's your own personal stress or you're watching the stress of other people around you. But this week, it's time to do things a little bit differently. Rather than allowing that feeling to overtake you, it's time to put those bubbles up around you so that you're not taking on the feelings of others. And this kind of separates you and leaves you in a place that's a bit more proactive, a place where you can actually maybe help resolve an issue or help the person or yourself without having to be part of the problem. Now, I know you guys understand what I'm saying here. And this is difficult for Tauruses, of course, because Tauruses have such a beautiful heart full of love that when they see people around them that are upset or having a hard time, of course it's going to affect them. And it's a beautiful thing that happens, but you can't help the person when you're in that situation. So this week, it's all about staying proactive. It's not about not being feeling. It simply is all about not taking on the feeling so much that you allow it to take over everything else that goes on, because you want to be in control. You want to see if you can find a resolution to this problem, and if you can't, you simply just want to be there for support, whether you're supporting somebody else or yourself. That will make you an even more beautiful person than you would be if you were so stuck on feeling everything that's going around you. So you guys have a great week with that. Gemini, your thoughts or how you think about situations rule how you see your environment around you this week, and specifically what's going on in that environment. And the moon coming into your sign about Wednesday through Friday really gives you a very clear example of how your thoughts can go one way or the other. Now we're going to look at the negative aspect of the moon first as she moves into opposition with a very closely conjunct Sun, Saturn, and Mercury this week. And it is going to make you feel like no matter what you do, you simply cannot communicate what you need when it comes to your goals and dreams. So you're unable to really communicate your needs and what it is that you want to do. And these are not just career goals and dreams. These could be goals, any kind of goals that you have, whether it's family goals or goals for your environment, goals for your house, whatever it is. It's really frustrating. The more you talk, the more people just seem to not know what it is that you're saying, which is very difficult. However, the moon's aspects with Uranus, Venus, and Mars show you that it's not all on you. Of course, it is a lot about you, but these aspects bring together the beauty and the energy of people around you, specifically your relationships. And it's an opportunity to really use these people, use these relationships in order to gather them together and move forward towards a specific goal. But communication really is the key here, especially with that moon being in opposition of your ruling planet. So when it comes to communication this week, it's really important to look at how you're communicating. Now there's two kinds of Geminis. Every Gemini has these two personalities. There's the super strong leader Gemini who knows what needs to get done and has no problem leading his or her team to get these things done. And then there's the overly talkative know-it-all Gemini that a lot of people tend to avoid. And every Gemini has both of these personalities. It's up to you to use the right one this week. Obviously, the over-talkative know-it-all Gemini is not going to get very far. You want to be the super awesome leader Gemini that everybody wants to follow into greatness. So really, the choice is yours this week. Are you going to do something awesome, or are you going to complain that it's not getting done to your satisfaction? This is what it's all about for you guys. So you guys have a great week with that. Cancer, it's all about family this week. And the typical Cancer absolutely loves to be surrounded by smiling and happy loved ones and family members, just, all coming together for the common cause of being together, which is absolutely fantastic. But we'll just face facts, shall we? It doesn't always work out that way, does it? I mean, this is just how life is. People get along for small amounts of time, and then all of a sudden, they don't get along anymore. And this is what happens in every family. I mean, it's just the way that it is. For Cancers, this can be a real drag and a real bummer, because Cancers love to have people happy around them so much that they will do anything to keep that peace. And this week, at the end of this week, when the moon comes into your sign, she moves into opposition with Pluto, which also puts her in cardinal grand cross position with Uranus, Mars, and Venus a little bit. Venus is a little bit out of that, but she's still a little bit of a part of that aspect there. And this is when you find that all of the happiness seems to come to a peak and everything sort of falls apart there in terms of what's going on with everybody around you. Now, the typical Cancer wants to go in there and fix things for people, and make everybody happy and in some way separate those that are fighting with each other so that everything can be happy and flow smoothly again. But this week, it's time for you to not do that. Okay, guys? It is what it is, unfortunately. And if you look back, especially if these are people that have a tendency to not get along over and over and over again, well, then you're not helping them. You're not doing any good by intervening in order to keep the peace in the moment, because obviously they're not resolving their situation because it keeps on going. So this week, let them duke it out. Tell them to go outside, let them duke it out, do whatever it is that they need to do. But the big thing is, don't get in the middle of it. This is not your fight, and there is no reason for you to be involved in this fight at this time. By doing this, you're not only doing yourself the favor of not being dragged down by somebody else's BS, but you're also allowing them the opportunity to actually resolve this between them for once, finally, instead of putting off that resolution because you just want the temporary happiness right now. So this week, it really is an opportunity to have a wonderful time with your family, but it's also an opportunity to take a pattern that's been going on for a long time and nip it right in the butt, because you don't want to deal with that one anymore. So you guys have a great week with that. Leos, it's party time for Leos this week. And we're talking a busy schedule of all kinds of things that need to be done this week. Now, a lot of this, of course, is fun stuff like getting together. And, you know, if you're here in America, we got a holiday coming up at the end of the week. So we're talking parties and getting together with family and just, you know, really having a busy schedule of things that need to be done. Mostly things that, of course, you want to do, which is good, which is preferable. But even too much of a good thing is too much. If you spend all week moving from one exciting adventure to another exciting adventure with no rest in between, you're going to be burnt out before we even get to Turkey Day, unfortunately. And you don't want to do that. Not only is it going to exhaust you, but it lowers your immune system and can make you sick at the same time. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to miss out on what could possibly be fantastic at the end of the week because you're trying to burn the candle at both ends at the beginning of the week. So this week it really is all about making sure that you have some balance there. And in between these exciting things that you need to do this week, you've got to take care of you. It's really important to take care of you. Do whatever it is that you need to do to pamper yourself, get some rest, have some meditation time, have some alone time, whatever it is that you need to do, make sure you have that rest time because you don't want to miss out on something real fun at the end of this week because you denied yourself that time at the beginning of the week. So you guys, sounds like you're going to have fun this week. So you guys have a great week with that. Virgo, expansion and growth within your relationships is what this week is all about for you guys, especially as Jupiter in your sign is trined with Pluto, and that means change. That means transformation and expansion. So we're changing and we're making things bigger than they were before, which is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful energy for you Virgos. And it's the only energy too. There's no negative aspects, which is a really positive thing for you guys. Now, we're not just talking about finding a whole bunch more friends and surrounding yourself with 100 friends instead of 50. I mean, that's a little part of it, but we're really talking about the relationships that you already have and building on those. Now, if you're talking about a typical love relationship, it goes through its own growth process. It starts out in the honeymoon phase, we'll say, and everything's all happy and wonderful. And then all of a sudden you kind of have to learn to work together, and you have your own personal little quirks and your own personalities and things, and you have to learn how to mesh those two personalities together. And that's not always easy. This is usually the point that makes or breaks a relationship, and sometimes it will break it, but then it comes back together. This week is all about going through that and really learning what you need to do in order to make that relationship grow. And of course, remember, it is a two-way street. But there's two things that are necessary to every relationship. One is not settling for anything less than you deserve. If you're not happy with what you're getting, say something about it. This is the easiest way for you to be able to allow the other person to know, to actually have knowledge about what it is that you want. And the other thing is setting those boundaries. Of course, if you don't set those boundaries, then how's the other person going to know that they're stepping on them in the first place? It's up to you to set those boundaries, and it's up to you to really allow the other person, or give that other person the opportunity to see that you have those boundaries and that they are stepping on them. And the thing is that it's not just all about happy fun time. It really is all about that deeper connection, a more meaningful connection, and this takes growth different steps of growth, which are not easy. They're not always pleasant, but once you get through them, they're beautiful. So this week for you Virgos really is all about making something that you have better by going through the process regardless of how difficult that process is, because the more difficult it is, the bigger the rewards are at the end of it. So you guys have a great week with that. Libra, this week Venus and Mars take turns in T-squared position with Uranus and Pluto, and this does cause some frustrations, especially when you feel like you're not getting what you need when it comes to making money and the relationships you have established for making money specifically, but in some cases some other relationships there a little bit at the same time. And especially if you are counting on these people in order to move forward in this particular money project and you're not getting, or you don't seem to be getting what you need out of these people, it's really frustrating indeed. It really makes you feel like you just want to walk away, throw your hands up in the air, walk away from all of it and say, you know, it's just not worth it to me. It really isn't. But at the same time, the good news is that Mars aspects with a very closely conjunct Saturn, the Sun, and Mercury all week long are telling you that this difficult and frustrating energy when it comes to other people is exactly the oomph that you need in order to show yourself what you can do on your own. You don't need these people, and to be honest with you, if you have these relationships and it just seems like everybody's kind of sort of going in different directions all at the same time, like a bunch of little chickens with their heads cut off, and you're sitting there with your frustration, well then get up and get it done. That's what this is all about. Get up and get it done. Show these people how to do it, because maybe the reason why they're not giving you anything is they don't know what it is that they're doing. And rather than being frustrated about it, you can do something about it. And sometimes it takes the always intelligent Libra to be the one to stand up and show people what needs to be done. And of course, explaining it along the way, because that's what Mercury is all about. It's the right kind of communication. Using your communication to voice your frustration about what's going on doesn't give you or get you anywhere. Using your communication to explain to people how things work while you're showing them how to do it, that will get you somewhere. So this week, it's all about stepping out of waiting for everybody else to do something and stepping into the shoes of the person who gets things done. Because if we know Libras, they're the ones that get things done. So you guys have a great week with that. Scorpio, pay attention to those little ideas or those little good thoughts that pop into your head this week. Those little ideas are actually helpful ways of showing you different clues or different avenues that you can go to get you out of a situation or move you towards a goal or a dream that you may have. Now, a lot of times these little ideas will come to us during times where we're really worried or frustrated about something. So if we're looking at our ultimate goal here and we're frustrated and worried that we're not going to make it, and then plunk, here's a little idea. Because we're in that frustrated place, we have a tendency to take that idea and overthink it. Can I do this? How am I going to do this? Is it going to work? Am I going to be successful? Maybe I should just not even think about doing it, right? Wrong. These little ideas are often coming to you from your guides and angels, or in some divine way, we'll just say, and they are clues. When you're sitting there and you're frustrated, it's your guides coming through and saying, hey, do this, and that'll help you get to that spot. And rather than thinking about the idea too much, you just want to do it. Just put the steps in to get things done and do what you can. Of course, if you don't have a car and the idea is to go somewhere across town where unfortunately you can't do that, well then you're going to have to ask your guides to help give you something a little closer to home so that you can do that. Or provide a way of getting to that place. Whatever it is, you don't want to overthink it to death, because once you do, you're dead in the water and it's not working for you anymore. So this week is all about using those ideas, allowing them to flow through you, and rather than worrying about whether or not you can use them or not, just doing them and see where they take you. Because I've been in this situation before, and trust me, my guides come up with some great ideas. So you guys have a great week with that. Sagittarius, happy birthday, Sagittarius. And of course, happy birthday to all the Sagittarians born this week. We're moving into the time of those people with the craziest, most fun, most energy, most wonderful ideas, and sometimes maybe not the best ideas. You know, they may not be in the best interest, but they're still lots and lots of fun. I know a few Sagittarians. I know that they could be absolutely fantastic ideas, and they could maybe be not the best ideas in the world, but they still could be fun sometimes. You know, you never know. It is all about, of course, the sun being in Sagittarius this week, and the sun is very much in conjunction with Saturn and Mercury this week in your sign, which is going to cause a little bit of a difficulty as all three of these planets are in squared position with Neptune, and this kind of sort of gives you a little bit of an issue when it comes to trusting your own intuition when it comes to trying to resolve a problem. Now, everybody goes through this at some point from time to time, especially if the problem is really, really big. Your gut feeling is telling you, of course, what you need to do about it, but sometimes it's so big that it's hard to trust that gut feeling. This is why, luckily, all three of these planets are also in a beautiful position with Mars, showing you the beautiful support group that you do have and why it's so important to have that support group. Now, most Sagittarians, not only are they great at coming up with these brilliant and sometimes not so great ideas, even though they're fun, Sagittarians also have this amazing energy that they put into everybody around them. And this week, it really is all about those people putting that energy back into you. It was an investment that you made a while ago, and now you're seeing the results of that investment coming to life in this support group. So when you can't trust your own intuition, maybe you can trust theirs. Everybody's, of course, got those people that they go to that they can trust to help them out with this situation. And you may just get the confirmation of your intuition. You may get some other ideas. But the point is, sometimes it takes a village. And you know what? That's okay. Because the truth is, you can't do everything on your own. Nobody can. Not even a Sagittarius, as awesome as you guys are. So you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn. This week, as Pluto is in T-squared position with Uranus, Venus, Mars, and at the end of the week, the moon moves into opposition with Pluto, creating a nasty little cardinal grand cross there for you. It is going to make some intense feelings. This is definitely an aspect that makes you feel like it's your job to give and give and give and give and give and not receive anything back in return. If that's not the Capricorn curse, I don't know what is. Every Capricorn I've ever known has been like this. They pour everything of themselves out and they just don't seem to be getting it back from anybody else. And they act like it's okay. Well, this week, it's not going to be okay. That's all there is to it. This aspect is really coming into your life to teach you that this is not okay to do this. I mean, you know, of course you want to give to others, but you've got to receive some of that back. It's just, you can't be a one-man giving machine. It's just not how that works. Everybody's got to have a little bit of something. And this week is all about really taking that stand. Being that person that says, hey, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't keep giving to all of you. My cup is empty. I have nothing left even to give to myself. Stand up for yourself this week and realize that you deserve just as much to get some of that stuff back as you put out. Actually, you deserve to get all of what you put out back. And this week, you're going to make a stand and say, you know what? I'm not giving anymore until I see a little bit of that coming back in return. You guys do actually deserve to have that. And it's about time you started thinking that way, Capricorns. So you guys have a great week with that. Aquarius, this week is all about taking inventory of yourself. I know that might sound a little silly, but As an Aquarian myself, I have a tendency to use this time of year, not the end of the year, but about a month before the end of the year, to really take stock of what it is that I'm doing. Look back at the year and see what have I accomplished. Did I actually accomplish everything that I set out to accomplish? Are there some things that still need some work left here to do? What can I cement and build a stronger foundation for next year? This is what I'm talking about in terms of taking inventory, not just for your goals, but also for yourself. What am I still holding on to? What have I let go of? What is still holding me back from being able to move forward and what it is that I want to do? These types of things, it's really important to do, not just once a year, but several times throughout the year, in order to make sure that you're going in the direction that you want to be going. Now, normal human beings, and I'm sorry, but we Aquarians are not exempt from normal human beings. We have a tendency to ignore what we're not doing and keep trying to push forward to get what we want to do. And what you're going to find is a lot of obstacles, a lot of difficulties, a lot of excuses as to why you can't move forward. And I'm not an exception to that. I just spent the last month going over that in my excuse bag kind of a thing. But at the same time, looking back, I'm seeing all of the things that I have let go of on an internal level in big, huge ways. And I'm still looking at a lot of things that I still need to work on. The bottom line is, are you going to beat yourself up over the things that you still have to work on? Or are you going to celebrate the things that you have worked on? They were big, they were momentous, and I got plenty of time to work on the other ones. And as long as I keep moving forward, I'm still in a perfect place because I'm not standing still or, worse yet, moving backwards, which we don't want to do. So this week, it's all about taking that inventory. Look at where you were last year. Look at where you are now. Are you where you want to be? No? Well, then it's time to get started on moving towards that goal to being where you want to be. And you're Aquarians. Nobody can tell you that you can't do it, especially you. So you guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces, Neptune in your sign is, of course, in squared position with the Sun, Saturn, and Mercury right now. And this is going to have you feeling like you cannot communicate your needs and wants when it comes to your goals and dreams. I mean, it's just no matter how you word it, people are either not understanding or it's causing more of a misunderstanding in some way. Now, you Pisces, of course, when you really feel something deeply, those feelings come out in how you communicate, and which is perfectly fine. You should put your feelings behind what you communicate. The problem is that sometimes when you feel so deeply about something, it garbles the communication. And then, of course, people don't understand what it is that you're trying to say, and then it becomes a problem. Consequently, your communication bounces from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, and you wind up leaving a sea of confused faces behind you. And internally, what you're feeling is, nobody cares. And that's really not what it is. It's not that nobody cares. Really, nobody's understanding what it is that you're trying to say. You've got to step out of these feelings a little bit and really take stock in how you're communicating. Make sure that your communication is clear and precise, and when you walk into the room and you say what you need to say, there is no doubt that people understand what it is that you're trying to tell them. And this gives you results. It's successful results because now everybody's on the same page instead of you feeling like nobody's getting what it is that you're saying. So this week, it's all about that communication. Yes, of course, put passion in your words, but don't allow your feelings to take over how you communicate, or unfortunately, you're going to be left with a bunch of people who have no clue what it is that you're trying to do here. So you guys have a great week with that. Thanks again for watching the horoscopes this week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. That 13-card tarot prediction for 2016, we've only got, 5 weeks left? That's it. 5 weeks and then it's gone. So make sure you get those orders in by going to my website. The link is down there in the description of this video. And I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And if you are celebrating Thanksgiving here in America this week, have a wonderful and very safe holiday with your family or with whoever it is that you're going to celebrate with. It's just, just make sure that you have a good time no matter what you do. I hope you guys have a kick-ass week, and I will see you all next week.